At ease, brothers. Hope that all is well in your lives. You know what, man? The far majority of what I talk about is really only the far majority of what I talk about, man, is really about what position you are on the path. You know what I'm saying? Whether I'm talking about you're coming out of a state of awareness, like when you just figure out that, hey, you know what, something is not right. I think I have more power. I think I have more control over this simulation. Whether it's that or whether you're actually in a state of transcending into this new reality you've created. Pretty much everything I talk about is in between those two angles, right? Like where you are on the path, man. But today, brothers, I want to talk about a portion of the path that I feel like is the most crucial. I feel like it's the part on the path, man, that we need to talk about more, or a man needs to be more aware of what's taking place during this portion, right? I want to talk about the wilderness, brothers. I want to talk about, let me just say it like this. I'll talk about the book, because I talk about it heavy in a singular truth. First off, got 7:03 in the morning, September 7th, 68 degrees in the great state of Texas, right? In a singular truth, brothers, in chapter 8 is called His Path Becomes His Wilderness. His path becomes his wilderness. And before I even get into the chapter, I use an excerpt from the book Oneness by Rasha. And that's really what I want to read this morning, man. Just a quick excerpt, right? And Rasha said this: as you begin to release the constraints that bind you to circumstances you have outgrown, you will discover that the direction of choice is found on a road you must travel alone. As you gather the fragments of the structure that crumbles around you, and as you cease trying to make sense of it, you will come to embrace the peace of knowing that the struggle is at last coming to an end. And if you read that whole thing in its entirety, man, what Sister Rasha was talking about was, she was saying, you know what, you're going to be traveling this path of life. And at some point, you will have moved in such a strong manner that this new world will be forming around you. Like this world that you meditated on, this world that you created, it's being created around you. But then she says, at the same time, just due to displacement, the old world will be crumbling away. And she said, what you must understand at that point, that when this takes place, you know that the end is right there. You know that you only have one or two steps left to take. But she says this: the last thing you want to do, brothers, is reach for that old world and try to fix it. Is reach for that old world and try to restore it, try to repair it, put life into it. Because once you do that, brother, it's chaos. It's chaos, man. So I want to talk about something real quick, brothers. I share a story. I've shared it quite often, but I never really go into detail, man. And I'll say this: there was a point in time in my life, man, a number of years ago, not too long ago, but some years ago, a handful of years ago, where my life was lifing, right? Where I was in a stage where I was saying, you know what, it's time to level up. It's time to, like, I'm tired of this life. There's more. And man, I did the work, man, and the old world fell away and all this stuff. And I had to go in and repair myself and do some healing and change some habits and the whole shebang, right? And after doing that for an amount of time, man, like my life was just amazing. Like this life that I saw in my head, it had come into fruition, bro. Like I was building healthy relationships with future business partners, man. I was traveling the world. I was doing all these certain things, right? Like life was life, and man, I was building, I had some good relationships, and I still have these relationships with some partners in Cairo, man, that I was getting ready to do business with. And I can remember, bro, right before I left, man, I'm on a boat party, man. It's like a little mini yacht, bro. And I'm cruising down the Nile River, bro. And I got my future business associates there, man. We sitting there just chopping. We sitting there fellowshipping. And you got beautiful women all over the place. You got belly dancers putting grapes in cats' mouth, man. It's just like paradise on earth, man. And I'm sitting there soaking up this energy saying, bro, like this is the world that I created in my life. Like this is the world I created. Like life is lifing. Like God is what it says it is and does what it says it does type energy, right? And I can remember leaving Egypt. And I can remember stopping in Dubai, doing some shopping in Dubai for a day or two, man, before coming home. And I can remember on the flight home, bro. On the flight home, it's like this world that I'm talking about created, it was around me. But it was like when I get home, man, I got to put all these things in play that we've been talking about, that me and these cats been talking about. So I got to put all these things in play, and then I'll fully be in that world. I said, I'll fully be in that world. Anyway, I'm flying back, man. I'm flying back into Dallas, and I'm sitting there watching the movie. I'm watching Jumper, one of my favorite movies, man. You need to check that out. I'm watching Jumper, man, and I'm in business class, man. Yeah, I'm not in a seat. I'm in a bed, bro. I'm like in a little mini, apartment type setup in the plane, man. I'm business class, right? And we about 4 hours out from Dallas, man, and I'm dozing off to sleep, and I get a phone call. My phone rings. And what really wakes me up is that it's different. It's a different ring. And it's a different ring because it's FaceTime, right? It's the FaceTime ring, right? And I picked the phone up, brothers, in flight, 4 hours out, and it's the serpent. It's the serpent calling me. And when I say the serpent, it's the exact same serpent that was in the Garden of Eden. It was the exact same serpent that the messenger entertained during those 40 days and those 40 nights. It was the serpent calling me, brothers. But at the time, I wasn't calling it the serpent. You know what I'm saying? At the time, I was calling it, man, a cute face. I was calling it a fat ass. You know what I'm saying? I was calling it manicured toes and cornrows. I didn't see it for what it was, man. And I'm on the phone with the serpent, right? And the serpent is just like, hey, hadn't talked to the serpent in I don't know how long. And this individual I'm talking to, man, was just like, hey, like, man, like life is happening and some things have taken place and blah, 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 blah. I need some assistance. I need you to help me. And I'm like, what's going on? And they gave me the spiel and they like, oh, I'm like, damn, that's not good. Like, and I said, hey, you know what? When I land, I'll reach out to you. I'm about 4 hours out. When I land, I'll reach out to you, right? I get off the phone, man. And for the next 3.5, 4 hours, like a seed had been planted, bro. For the next 3 or 4 hours, all I could think about was time I spent with the serpent. All I thought about, man, was the way the serpent did that thing, the way that ass jiggled in them sundresses, the way that hair laid down. All I could think about was that, man. And I'm going to tell you what happened, bro. As soon as I touched down, DFW, right? As soon as I touched down, brothers, I didn't even go home. I drove straight to the serpent. Like the Bible say, a man will go straightway into his destruction. I didn't even go home, brother. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. I went straightway toward the serpent, bro. Got there, man, kind of helped mitigate that situation. But let me tell you this. I want to tell you this, man. And this is the crazy thing. After I got off the phone, I'm going to tell you what I could feel, bro. I could feel the world looking at me. You know what I'm saying? Like I could feel the world saying, you know what? Your next move is going to change everything. Like, in other words, I could feel, and I'll put it like this. I could feel the hand of God sitting there getting ready to push approve or sitting there and getting ready to push veto. I was fully aware of this, bro. I understood what was taking place. And I'm saying that, man, because I want you to understand, when I talk about this serpent, I want you to understand the power of what I'm talking about. I want you to understand the power of what takes place in the wilderness. Going back to where I was, man. mitigated this situation. And brother, within 24 to 48 hours, my life went to shit. All these plans I had, all these things I had going on in life that wasn't even associated with nothing. Everything went to shit. But for the next 2 years, for the next year and a half, 2 years, I went from being on life in a high horse to being life in darkness, bro. I was in darkness. And I'll be honest, that's when I really came into a realization of what heaven and hell is. Like heaven and hell is not some afterlife type place. Heaven and hell is here. Heaven and hell is if a man chooses to walk, to walk upright in the path, or if he doesn't. Because I'm gonna tell you, man, when I say I was in that darkness, brother, like I would have much rather burned in some fiery pit than to experience this. Because what I felt was, hey, soul, you asked for a thing, you moved in a thing, you created a thing, and it's here. And once it came here, once we tested you, you chose something else other than God. Bro, when I say that's the worst feeling on the planet, brother, I don't want nobody to experience that. And what I'm saying is, man, you have to understand that when you create this world, all the things we talk about, creation and transcend, all that stuff, you have to understand that before that takes place, brother, you're gonna get tested. Every single time, every single person, you're going to get tested. When you're going to see that world around you, before it completes itself, the serpent will show its face. Every single time, brothers. I saw this quote in the Bible, man. And it's in 1 Peter verse 4, 1 Peter 4 and 12. And it says this: Beloved, do not be surprised at the fiery trial when it comes upon you to test you, as though something strange were happening to you. Don't be surprised when your faith is tested. It's all throughout the Bible. You can't fully transcend to this place you're creating without the serpent showing his face. So you must be aware of this, brothers. You must be aware of this, sisters. Like the thing is, like once you make a decision, this is what I want to say. Once you make a decision and say, you know what, this is the world I'm creating, I'm stepping into this energy. Like when I talk about prayer, when I say a man should go into this state and never come out, brother, go into this state, not only never come out, but forget every single thing outside of that prayer. If it's not in that prayer, give it no energy. Because you have to understand, it's the serpent showing his face. It might be a woman. It might be a man. It might be a bottle of alcohol. It might be a group of strippers. It's going to be temptation in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But you have to understand that you have to make that definite choice and never look back. That's why the book says to go into that state. Go into that state and never come out of that state. Because once you enter that state, it's only the serpent calling your name. And I talked about this in a singular truth. I said, when you're in this wilderness, like you'll be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but all these things are going to come back and see you. All those partners are going to call you up and say, hey, man, let's go hit the juke joint. All them sisters coming back in. Hey, big head. All these vices will show their faces, man. But you have to understand, this is the serpent in the Garden of Eden. This is Satan in the 40 days and 40 nights. You have to understand before you transcend, this will take place. So don't look back. Don't look back. You'll understand, man, that once you move forward, once you don't look back, once you learn from that experience, because if it bites you once and you go to that darkness, just learn from it. Just learn that, hey, you know what? I'm going to get myself out the mud. And when I come back, I'm going to learn from this. It's going to make your character it's going to make you a different person. It's going to make you have zero tolerance in certain areas. It's going to put you in a position where you can cut things off instantly. I don't care if it's vices. I don't care if it's relationships. When you understand what hell feels like, like I always say, nobody is immune. That's why I say that, brothers. When I say nobody's immune, that's why. Because once you go to that dark spot, bro, it's not good. So once you learn this, man, and once you start learn how to transcend into this new world and cut the old world off, brother, it's a completely different way to live, man. It's a completely different way to live, brother. I just made a video the other day, and I'll leave a link, where I said the blessing is on the other side. This is what I was talking about. This is exactly what I was talking about. Like when you're getting ready to transcend, brother, those vices are going to show their faces, and it's going to seem like, oh, you're right on time. You came right on time. I'm getting ready to transcend. I would love for you to join me. Hey, partners. Hey, women. Hey, all these vices. I'm getting ready to cross over. Come on and ride with me. It's not what it is, brother. It's an illusion. It's the serpent, brothers. But once you transcend, man, it's just the most beautiful thing, man. I want to give a shout out to my friend Jess. And when I say my friend Jess, I'm saying my friend, but to be honest, Jess is not a friend. I just met Jess, right? She's more of she's in our tribe, brothers. And this is the thing about Jess, man. Shout out to you, Jess. So Jess and I were having some digital dialogue, and in this dialogue, I could hear something. And I said, just by the way, like I always say this, man, you can tell who a person is strictly by how they see the world. And as Jess is talking, I said, you just transcended. I said, you just recently transcended. I can tell by the way you're talking. You just got here. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, man, let's say for example, that if babies could talk as soon as they came out the womb, right? As soon as they came out the womb. Let's say, for example, your phone rings and it's a baby, and this baby has been on the planet for 3 days. And you sitting there talking, and they're like, hey, bro, like the birds, man. Have you seen these birds? Like, they can fly. Have you seen the trees? They're just like, they're beautiful. They're green. Have you seen all these things? And you would be like, you just got here. Like, I can tell by the way you're talking, you just recently came to this new realm. That's what it was like talking to Jess, man. And I said, man, and it feels, and I'm saying it, man, because it feels good when I hear a person that just graduated. It feels good, man. It's the best feeling when a person has just graduated. And I said, man, let me look at Jess's Instagram page. Never been to it in my life. Never been to the Instagram page. I go to the Instagram page, and this was her last post, and she posted it 3 days ago. It says this: it feels absolutely amazing to no longer live in my lower nature. To live in my higher nature is like hitting the jackpot. No longer surviving, but thriving. No longer stuck in the matrix, just feeding my ego with garbage that drains my energy. No more unhealthy addictions. No more stagnation. No more having other people telling me what to do and how to live my life. No more letting the ego run the show. I am fully in charge of my life. I feel controlled and empowered. Knowledge of self is supreme. I can hear that. This is what I want to say, brothers. You have to understand, I'm fully aware of this. And a lot of y'all brothers, like when I say certain things and I'm describing certain things and I'm talking about getting rid of vices and all this stuff, I know that a lot of people hear me, but not everybody understands. Like, I know a lot of y'all are saying, so, like I'm right with you, brother. I see it in the comments. Like, yeah, man, you right. I remember transcending, and this is what life is like. I got rid of these vices. But I can also tell the people that are hearing me, but they're on the other side of the water. Like they're in position, like I can tell that they hear me, but they're in the wilderness listening to me. Or they're on the threshold listening to me. They're getting ready to transcend, or they're facing the serpent. They can hear me, but they don't really understand the magnitude of what I'm saying, of like the energy of what it feels like. Because a lot of y'all are saying, when I say something like get rid of your vices, a lot of y'all say, well, man, I can't get rid of that crown, man, quite yet. Like, you don't understand what it feels like to be on the other side of that. Jess explained it clearly. There are no words that can really explain the fulfillment from being over there, brothers. But I want to tell you this, man. And this is something you have to be aware of. This is something we all have to be aware of. You have to be very cautious about entertaining people that haven't transcended. And that can be a challenge. You know, like even if a person is talking from a place of, hey, I'm getting ready to transcend. Like, even if it's a buddy of yours, even if it's a relationship you're in, even if it's a family member, anybody, like, they're saying, hey, you know what? I'm getting ready to transcend. I'm working on myself. I'm building this. Be very careful, man, about entertaining that. I'm not saying don't inspire. I'm not saying it don't lead by example so they can see how you move and can learn from it. But be very careful about blending energies with people that haven't transcended. Because every relationship, whether it's with a woman, whether it's with a man, every relationship is a marriage. Every single relationship you entertain is a marriage, which means it's an exchange. It's a blending of energies. So a lot of times you will marry somebody that hasn't transcended, and your life is going to crap. Your life is going to crap. So just be aware of that, man. Just be aware of that. Like, when I say, like, life is just a series of the past starting all over. Because once you hit a certain level of enlightenment and you step into this new world, at some point in time, it's going to be time to evolve again. And you're going to go through certain parts of the path again. Whether you got to go through, you might have to go through a different level of healing. You might have to go back down through that pasture again, and you might have healed the relationship and the love part of your life, but now you got to fix those finances. So you got to go back down through that pasture again and do some more healing. You got to come out the other side of that pasture, man, and go through the wilderness again. The serpent will show itself again. It's just a series. It's just a cycle of life, man. But be aware, brothers. Be aware of this. So all I'm saying, man, is you must be aware of what's taking place in the wilderness.